Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Douglas, for including this really short essay that I'm going to read today. That makes me really uncomfortable to read, actually, so hopefully that will not show. Um, but this is an essay about a trip I took with my father and my brother Randy to Talladega, a NASCAR race, and it's called Riding in Cars with Brothers, and it takes its epigraph from Alan Tate's Sonnets of the Blood. If you would win the hard identity of brothers, a long race for men to run. On October 3rd, 2004, the EA Sports 500 took place at the Talladega Superspeedway. That humid Sunday, 172,138 ticketed attendees filled the stands of the largest track used by the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, NASCAR, though the number is conservative given the tens of thousands who pack the miles of abandoned farmland which surround the track, tailgating and camping and raising Cain. It is not unlike a Dixie Woodstock. And the lore goes that on race day, Talladega becomes the most populated city in Alabama. On October 3rd, 2004, I was a college freshman, young and awkward and uncomfortably queer, sitting on the searing metal of stadium seating as stock car drivers looped 188 laps around the 2.66-mile track, often in excess of 200 miles per hour. Such speed is a dizziness that blurs or perhaps revises our memory. I had traveled from Missouri to Alabama as a concession. My mother guilted, a coercion I learned of much later, my father and brother Randy into taking me for my birthday. I did not want to go, really, and they probably would have preferred going without me. But these men asked so earnestly. 19 and weird and on the verge, like every 19-year-old is, of some great self-revelation, I wasn't in the position to turn down the attention. Our trip itself, unmemorable but for flashes. 10 hours in Randy's Chevy Lumina listening to an endless loop of Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, and Alabama. Song of the South, sweet potato pie, and I shut my mouth. Gone with the wind, there ain't nobody looking back again. During the race itself, reading Catcher in the Rye and Dad spilling beer onto my paperback. Drinking my first beer with Dad and Randy, neither of whom drink in front of Mom. Going to a local mall for dinner at Applebee's. Finding a cruisy bathroom at the mall. Finding a boy at one of the urinals. Finding his cock as he finds mine, and we masturbate into the pool of piss and pink disinfectant disc. My brother finding me in the bathroom just as the boy and I are coming and never speaking of this. Later, after many more beers at the house we had rented for the weekend, skinny dipping in the cedar-lined hot tub with my brother and feeling his hand brush my knee. Then again, his eyes closed because he is married and straight and also my brother and we are drunk. In St. John's Gospel, Jesus claims, "My Father's house has many rooms." In the gospel, no one has written of my family. My Father's house has many rooms, rooms in which camps segregate. A house divided against itself, it turns out, can stand, however shakily. In my Father's house, there are many rooms, and I am usually in the sewing room with Mom and my sister Jennifer drinking Diet Coke, watching HGTV, and carrying on like we ain't got a care in the world, our mother says. The river of a family's genetics rarely flows evenly. It eddies and meanders, dams and trickles. Jennifer and I, for instance, are both extroverts like our mother. Our big, strange laughs, guffaws, sound like birds in pain. We are both teachers, both hold graduate degrees, and are both finicky eaters. She a vegetarian, me an adamant vegan. Physically, however, I look most like my brother Randy. We are both slim, but not waifs, with the pale skin of our Welsh blood mixed with darker Hopi Indian. Our facial hair borders on red, and our smiles are crooked, turning higher on the left side of our faces than the right. And because we were drunk in a hot tub and we are brothers and he is Randy and our memory revises, the last thing I remember of that night is accidentally tickling his thigh, leaning in to kiss my brother, and his smile, like my own, making the kiss lopsidedly sweet and strange and familiar. No man in my family should drink. We are, in this way, very Southern indeed, taken by muggy nights to points of excess. My father, now sober, is an alcoholic, and my mother will not stand for this in her house. My other brothers, Marty, dead now, and Mike, rarely coherent, have spent so much time in and out of emergency rooms and rehab and prison, it seems a moot point to drone on about them. Randy and I know our limits and rarely pass them. But on a night in a hot tub after your brother has watched you come in a public bathroom with another boy beside you, you will both want to drink. And when you kiss and whatever follows this, you will want to both remember that the world was one of possibility then, but not want to remember the particulars. You will both be thankful for the line of demarcation a blackout provides, a before and an after, a known and a never known. Why, I wonder now, did I desire, and sometimes desire still, my own brother, the one I most closely resemble, though we are so vastly different? He, a father, a builder of palatial custom homes for the wealthy. Me, a writer, an almost doctor of American literature. Is this an exercise in queer narcissism? When I visit home during Christmas, my first year of graduate school, Randy asked me a question he has never asked before or since. What have you been reading? I'd been reading Freud, who has much to say on the subject of desire and the ego, of course. Is ours, this relationship between Randy and I, silently volatile, an example of, as Freud describes, very intense feelings of rivalry giving rise to aggressive desires, which after they have been surmounted are succeeded by love for the object that was formerly hated or by an identification with it. I know we sat alone and sweating in a hot tub in the middle of Alabama, where we were briefly just brothers at a NASCAR race. But I don't remember or cannot remember or do not want to remember what happens until the next day, when, hungover but drinking again under the hot Sunday sun, we watched Jeff Gordon wreck somewhere around the 150th lap, a wreck that would ultimately cost him the race. I remember later trying to make this a metaphor for what had happened and not happened the night before as we drove home through the lowlands of western Tennessee. I remember how strange it was that Cole Porter was on the radio, how he sang, "Read and let read, write and let write, love and let love, bite and let bite." How strange it is now that I think of Talladega and Randy and my sudden, quick waning love for NASCAR. My queer love for NASCAR, much like my love for the South it represents and my brother. How I think about all this at a hip coffee shop in Washington, a city that, like myself, has a complicated relationship with its own Southern roots. This shop serves coffee in excess of $5 a cup alongside vegan pie. Today, I order the sweet potato and wistfully shut my mouth. Thank you.